circumstances, baby. No, God is always there for me. Yeah, through the sunshine or through the rain, through the pleasure or through the pain, God is always there for me. So I met this old man. He was so poor, didn't hold no bed, so we slept on the floor. He's always smiling, never heard him complain. He said I've proven God again and again. So no matter what the circumstances, baby, God is always there for me. Yeah, through the sunshine or through the rain, through the pleasure or through the pain, God is always there for me. No matter what the circumstances, baby, yeah, God is always there for me. Yeah, through the good times or through the bad, through the happy times or through the sad, God is always there for me. The landlord wears the rent, school fee due, partner drop bombs, and the youth them need you. Friends all ask me what I'm gonna do. I smile and tell them that God will see me through. So no matter what the circumstances, baby, yeah, God is always there for me. Yeah, through the sunshine or through the rain, through the pleasure or through the pain, God is always there for me. So no matter what the circumstances. Separate me from your love, my Jesus. Nothing will be able to turn me away from you. I love you, Father. Anyhow, the afflictions of the righteous, the hearts of men getting more and more vicious. Brutality is on the increase. Tell me, when the love of God sees no power on earth to separate me from your love, my Jesus, nothing will be able to turn away from you. I love you, Father. This level of crime only love can eradicate. We must demand justice from the church and the state, and confess to God all our evil ways. And He will give us so much better days when we show love to each and every brother. Love will return to protect mother, daughter, sister. Let's hope in our heart to those who are in need, who never receive love. Come, let's sow some seed. No power on earth to separate me from love. Love, my Jesus, nothing will be able to turn me away from you. I love you, heaven Father.
Good afternoon. Welcome to our Rebel Radio. Yes, welcome to all my listeners and viewers. Yes, very good afternoon. And, we are in election period in the Caribbean. Trinidad had their elections earlier this month. Yesterday, there were elections in Suriname. Guyana president announced that elections will be held in September. Jamaica's election is due also in September. And St. Vincent, yes, Dr. Gonzalez told the nation there that they'll be having elections this year. So we are going to go over to Suriname now, yes, to find out what happened there yesterday. It was, I understand, was a massive turnout, yes, and we have with us Mr. Harvey Panker of the Caribbean Media Services with us. Good afternoon, Harvey.
Good afternoon, Desmond. Glad to be
Yes,
in the program.
sir. Yes. And yesterday was the big day in Suriname. Tell us what happened yesterday.
Yes, the ruling party of the acting president, Mr. Chandrika Prasad Santokhi, lost by one seat to the NDP, that is the party of the deceased Mr. Bouterse.
Yes. NDP, what NDP is, what NDP stands for again?
National Democratic Party.
Oh, the National Democratic Party. So that party won the elections.
Yes, in fact, they, even though information results from like 40 nations need to come in, but the result as it stands will hold up. That will be it. Mostly, it can differ. Maybe the VHP of Santokhi will gain one or lost one, or NDP will gain one or lost one, or the second, the third contenders, the ABOP and NPS of Dr. Gregor Rusland will gain one. So it's likely that the four main parties can either gain one or lose one.
Okay. Well. What was the turnout like yesterday? Was it? I understand there was what the number of registered voters in Suriname is about what 350,000.
No, more like 399,932 to be exact.
Right. And yes, go ahead.
Mostly, if we look at in history, then it's more like 70 to 80% of that population will actually come up and vote.
Yes.
But this year was a history low, because you usually get 80% and more, and this time it was like 70, like between 68 and 70%. You know, at the moment, the count of voters is like like more than 50, between 50 and 60%.
Okay.
So it's a low.
Yes. I want to understand in Suriname, the electoral system in Suriname is similar to the others in the Caribbean. Is it the first past the post system you have?
No, it differs, but because we have more like a parliamentary system, we have more like a mix. We have more like a parliamentary system, but we have a president. You know, like in Trinidad and Jamaica, the president has don't have much power. Than the person with the most power is the how you call him, the prim
The
premier.
president, no, the president in Suriname is not a ceremonial president, it's an executive president.
It's an executive president, yes,
Okay.
but he is chosen by the parliament.
Yes. Oh, yes. And is what I'm trying to find out, is it what you call um, the in Jamaica you have the first past the post system, but you have you can have another system where I'm just trying to remember the terminology now, where it is not first past the post. The seats are allocated based on percentage of votes. So I am trying to find out how many parties contested yesterday's election.
Oh gosh, a lot, 14,
14.
and every party had like there are you have to understand there are 51 seats in parliament,
Yes.
and every party has a list of 51 candidates.
Yes.
So it's like 50, it's like 14 multiplied by 51.
Yes. Okay.
The outcome candidates that were contesting for one of those 51 seats in parliament.
Okay.
And it is the party with the most seats, because the system we have is like two-thirds of the 51. You need to have your president and your vice president elected in parliament.
Okay.
So it's like so yeah, we can make some combinations, like it's likely, let's say VHP and the NDP would work together. That's very unlikely. Then they would need nobody else to form the government. So it would be like 18 seats plus 17 seats is 35.
Yes. Okay.
To have a coalition in parliament.
But yes.
So they would need, but the head of NDP, Ms. Jennifer Simmons, the chair of NDP, has said it numerous times in the press that it's a no-go for her to work together with the VHP. It's a no-no for her. So it's very unlikely. So the very likable combination right now is the MPS of Gregory Rusland with the NDP. So you would have like 18 plus 6 is like 24.
Yes. Okay.
And then you need another few parties to help you to get to the 34. To
Okay.
have, yeah.
But
That's it. But
it would appear as if the former president there, the one deceased, President Butterse, that his party came back strongly.
yes, his party came back very strongly. Very strong. Yes. Maybe this morning I heard that the chair, Ms. Jennifer Simmons, said that it's likely that they will gain one seat. So they will be actual at the end, like 90 seats.
Okay.
So we'll see. But now, as it stands, it's that the VHP of Chan Santoki and the NDP, they are now they are now in the driver's seat to form a coalition for the government.
Yes. So it is likely that both of them will form a coalition then.
Yeah, it would be the person that gets the other parties to join them. And
Oh,
I know that the party of the NPS of Gregory Island have said in the press also that it's not very likable that they will work with the VHP.
okay.
They work with the VHP, and in the last government they were betrayed, so they stepped out in an early stage. So it's not likely that they will work with Santoki.
Yes. So with a new government, a new party, what are the expectations? Is because is it that this Butterse party there that the party is going to introduce new policies? What are the expectations?
I think now it's a little bit early because they didn't say much of what they are going to do exactly, but we know more or less what because we were talking about earlier in the last interview I was in the show. We talked about the cost of living,
Yes.
the pain the people are feeling, because they're not living, they're surviving on a daily basis. It's always the low class that are paying the prices for things that governments are doing. It's always that they will be the most likely to suffer. So the promise of the NDP is to uplift those groups, that group in particular, that people can now start living instead of surviving every day.
Yes.
So, because it's still politics. They promise a lot, and at the end of the 5-year term, if you look back, they will tell you several reasons why they couldn't achieve what they promised, but it's based on those promises that you got elected. So you have to do everything in your might to deliver. That's what people are saying.
Okay. So you can the people of Suriname then can expect some policies that will help to reduce the cost of living. That is
Bring relief.
yeah, that is one of the main issues facing the
Yes.
people right now.
Yes. What the people are struggling with, price of gas, the price of water, the price of electricity. The gas, electricity, uh, 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 um, to rent every day. People can rent a house. Sometimes you see where people are living. It's very sad.
Yes.
It's very, very sad. So they promised to build homes for the less fortunate. So we'll see if the houses they will build, the people can afford. Because you can build houses, you can build homes, the people need to afford them. Or do you have to call them like a social program and and let them live there for a budget that they can afford?
So what is the mood? Describe the mood of the country right now. On the day of elections. Are there large crowds on the streets celebrating?
No, not directly, but yeah, people, especially the NDP, the National Democratic Party, they are in a euphoric mood because they won their biggest rival, even though it's by one seat, because they expecting another one. So that for them alone is like the biggest victory ever, because then they are already in the driver's seat. to form the new government.
Yes.
So that for them, it's a win. And at the other hand, the people of Santoki, of VHP, are not amused at all. So I think the biggest loser, based on the propaganda, based of what they did to step out of the government of Santoki, is the MPS of Gregory Rissalan. Many thought that they would be the biggest winner because, it was the NPS who was the biggest party in history in Suriname. They were always in the driver's seat. And since Bouterse, they never regained their strength when they lost to Bouterse. They never regained their strength. So, you can say they won like 3 seats in 2020, and this year they won 3 more, so it's 6. But our system changed in the meantime. Before, it was like a district system. Based on a particular system, you would gain seats. It had nothing to do with the amount of votes you got. So if we compare 2020 and 2025 for the NPS, then I would say they lost because they gained 3 seats in 2020. Because of that system, they won 3 seats, but they had 33,000 votes. And now, for the 6 seats they got in 2025, they only had 23,000 or 25,000 votes.
Okay. But they won
So
more.
where are the other
But they have won more
78,000?
seats.
Yes. So if they would had the same amount of votes as 2020, if they would stay level with 2020, then they would have 7-8 seats, and they would be in a better position to form a government. So for me, they're the biggest loser.
Okay. I see. Yes. All right. So, the former prime minister, has he said anything? Has he conceded defeat?
Yeah. I haven't heard him until this morning. I haven't read nothing about it. So he's taking. But I think he's watching his odds. So a lot of those parties with the biggest amount of seats now have expressed earlier that working with the ABAP of the current prime minister is vice president is a no-no for them. So I think with the 6th seat, I think for him it's best to look what is happening and maybe, find a way to go into the government. But he's not very popular with those parties who has the most seats in parliament. The NDP and the VHP.
Okay. Yes, sir. So there we have it. The elections in Suriname, the opposition has taken power. And now it is left to be seen what will be done.
So it's like the opposition won.
Yes. And I know the people are watching to see if they are going to fulfill their promises. And as we noted that one of the biggest concerns facing the people is the high cost of living. So we expect the government to take some steps in that direction. One of the good things for Suriname and the Surinamese people is that they are expected to start drilling oil in 2 years' time. So by 2028, they should start seeing the proceeds from those oil drilling operations. Yes. So from an economic point of view, the country should be better off within 2 years. Am I right, Harvey?
Yes, exactly, Mr. Isis.
Okay.
These are the expectations. So, yeah.
Yes, sir. So as you said, today is a quiet day. No street celebration.
No.
Yes. Yes.
Because there could be changes.
Okay.
So everyone is watching closely if all the results come in, and if those results that are not coming yet, if they would make a difference.
Okay. But when you say it means that not all the votes are counted, that's what you mean?
All the votes are counted, but
Yes.
the results need to come in they need to be brought to let's say they are counted. Let's say they are counted, because at the end of the day, when a polling station is closed, they have to put all the results.
Recount.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh.
So because we have a polling station in the interior, because most of the Surinamese live in the coastline. But you have the interior. Suriname is a very large country like Guyana, with a very big Amazon rainforest, and you have Amerindian and Maroons living in the rainforest, scattered across the Amazon, living in small villages. So the polling stations in those areas, sometimes if we don't have a good Ethernet line, or they have to be transported by air, and whatever transportation methods they're used to get the information to Paramaribo. So they ain't closed yet. So we'll see in the coming days what. But also in Paramaribo, because Paramaribo, the capital of Suriname, we have in Paramaribo 163,000 people, voters, living in the capital.
Yes.
And second district is Wanica, where I live, 100 to 102,000 voters. So most of the seats come from these two, Paramaribo and Wanica.
Okay. Yes.
So that's why experts say that even if the 40 results didn't come in yet, it wouldn't make a big difference. One or two seats will be shifting between the main contenders, but that's all.
Yes.
Not two big things will happen.
Okay. So by tomorrow, final results should be known.
We hope so that by tomorrow there will be a final count, but then the process will start, because then it will go to the executive board, like an executive election board, that would look at the election to declare if they are would declare the results good. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
So I'm at home and it's raining and
All right.
thundering.
Okay. All right. Well, I want to thank you very much for your time. And
Thank you for having me.
yes, so the new government will be
We'll
in
talk some
place.
more another time if there are final results.
Yes, of course. Thank you
Yes.
very much, Harvey.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Okay. Yes. That was Mr. Harvey Panka there, and president of the Caribbean Media Association, keeping us abreast of what took place in Suriname yesterday. Yesterday was general elections, and from all indications, there has been a change of government over there in Suriname. So we observed that there was a change of government. The opposition took over in Trinidad. And this situation has changed in Suriname also. So is it going to be a change of governments in all 5 countries where elections are due this year? Let's watch and see. This is Rebel Radio. Let's take a break.
When me drink and please never gonna tease her. Boom, bang. You don't know, so rubber dub, egg, tonic wine, the finest wine. So all of the man them wanna tune into the wine here, you know. You say if you don't want to go long and strong, you just tune into rubber dub.
Tools, Hardware and Supplies is holding up the heat this summer with their super saving summer sale. Prices are slashed on everything you need to fix up your home. Beautiful tiles, sleek doors, top quality windows, modern sanitary ware, exclusive flooring and more. At Tools, Hardware and Supplies, we have you covered for the summer.
So, come visit us at 279 Spanish Town Road, 4 South Camp Road, 8 Red Hills Road,
Or online at toolsja.com.
Tools!
The Lion King of Hardware.
Oh, Jamaica eyes were built with fire, passion and vibes, and through it all there's a glow inside. Let's keep our shine alive.
From the market to the factory floors, from the hillside green to golden shores.
We're reaching heights, our energy that lights the sky. Shine bright, Jamaica. Shine bright, Jamaica. Feel the rhythm, we're on track. Feel it, feel it. Together we rise, together we climb. JPS Jamaica, together we shine.
Shine from the ends, shine with your family, shine with your friends. Light up the streets and make the vibes blend. Yo, JPS and make the shine never end.
Yes, welcome back to Rebel Radio. Yes, and we are talking about elections. Yes. And as I indicated, that of the 5 countries in the Caribbean where elections are due this year, so 2, we have had 2. And yesterday, the announcement was made in Guyana that their elections will be held in September. Let us find out what is happening now. We have with us senior Guyanese journalist, Mr. Adam Harris. Adam, good afternoon to you.
And good afternoon to you too, my brother.
Yes.
Yes,
So you
the
got...
president made the announcement last night,
Yes.
and it took many of us by surprise because they now have September
Yes.
So we're talking about June, July. They have 3 months
Yes.
to get all the political parties involved who want to contest. And at this time, many political parties turn up to contest.
Mhm.
And when that is done, they have to go and do registration and all of that. But what is interesting is that for the past 4 years and more, the opposition has been talking about the voters list. No attempt has been made to have that voters list rectified. So we are going to an election with a voters list that is severely bloated and has not been corrected. For again, we have been asking for biometrics. There is no move for biometrics. So we are going to elections with a bloaters list and with a system that can allow for multiple voting. They talk about having ID card, but some people have more than one identification card. Biometrics would have allowed the taking of fingerprints. That has gone through the window. So I have not been able to get a reaction from the various opposition parties because today is a holiday in Guyana.
Oh, today.
Supposed to be independence. Yes. So early tomorrow, I am going to be contacting all of them to get their various reactions.
Yes.
You know, it's unfortunate. That voters list has the names of many, many dead people. People who left and went to live overseas. And they died over there and haven't come back.
Yes.
So we have a serious problem there too.
Yes. The last time we spoke, you told me that the existing voters list has more names, than the number than the size of the population right now.
All right.
Yes. So
that is one of the problems.
So it would appear as if this election then might end up like the last election with a lot of legal challenges.
Well, again, we always have these elections petitions.
Yes.
But nothing happens, you know. Nothing happens, my brother.
Okay.
Because the courts don't hear them fast enough. And, you know, that is one of the problems.
Well. Well, it is clear.
I think you would have heard. Yeah. Go on.
It is clear that the elections are going to be held on the existing list because within 3 months, it is not enough time to carry out any changes. And
that's correct.
So that list is going to be used. And just on that note, Adam, what has happened to that situation where there were a number of names were found at one address? You remember that? That happened, I think it was last month. What has happened to that?
That too has not been addressed. That has not been addressed. So it is very, very, very difficult for us to say anything. There were objections, and one opposition party said, when we object to one thing, you have the problem of having the Elections Commission not taking action. So that is the problem. So we have all the, yes, the elections will be held, because once they are called, if you do not contest, then you surrender the right to challenge the government at the polls.
Yes.
So you have to contest it. So that's it. But the news came as a surprise. Fortunately,
No, but why? I don't understand why it is a surprise, because elections are constitutionally due in Guyana this year. Am I right?
yes. So everybody expected it indeed.
Yes.
But you also expected some changes.
Yes.
And those changes never came. You know, you had the legal advisor to the Guyana Elections Commission. And he made some recommendations. And when he made those recommendations, the commission said, well, his views don't coincide with ours. Now, if you have a lawyer who is your legal representative, and his views are clearly legal, and you are not a lawyer, how dare you insist that his views coincide with yours? So they terminated this contract. So right now, the Election Commission does not have a legal officer. You know, these are all things that happen.
I wonder why they terminated this contract.
Because he gave an opinion that did not coincide with theirs.
That is laughing.
That is the problem.
Yes. So, as you said, you are going to contact the political parties to find out what.
Yes.
As the
What
opposition,
action, you know.
has the opposition said anything as yet?
Well, I have not seen anything as yet. I am checking the social media to see if there are any posts. I have not seen any. But there might very well be, but I have not seen any.
Okay. All right. So the country is. Let me ask you something, Adam.
Yeah.
Are public opinion polls done in Guyana?
If the
public opinion polls on the election?
Well, they will have to be conducted. And again, it depends on who conducts the poll.
Who usually
Yeah, many of the pollsters aren't independent. And a poll depends on the questions you ask.
Yes.
So I am not sure that so far we have had any of those. We don't have any. It's difficult to therefore get an opinion. If we were to look at the social media page, we would believe that there is not much support for the government. But that always happens. And when it comes down to election time, one of the opposition groups would always go and vote for the government. So as it stands right now, there is no credible means to judge what the outcome will be and all of that.
Well. But from your observation, is the incumbent party, the government, is the government popular among the people?
It is very unpopular because, look, there is one fella, Azruddin Mohammed, who was sanctioned by the US government and accused of tax fraud and all of that. Whenever he goes into the PPP stronghold, you hear the comments and they're saying that if he runs, they will vote for him. You hear that.
Yes.
So you know that the government is uncomfortable with that. because it's their supporters who are talking. Now, I don't know that he will contest, although he has said he will contest. Whether he will do so on his own or in coalition with one of the other parties, I don't know.
Right.
The other issue too is that a lot of those people don't readily vote for a black person. That is why they have responded so to Muhammad. Muhammad looks like them, so they have responded to him. And while they would complain to the other parties about the problem, at election time they will not vote for those parties. Some of them, if they stay home, the opposition wouldn't mind. Yeah, if they stay home, the opposition wouldn't mind. But there are always the thugs who would go to the homes of the people and threaten them with all kind of things if they don't go out and vote.
Yes.
You know, the people can go down, they can always spoil the ballot, as has been done in the past. That was done.
Yes, sir. Yes, yes.
So these are interesting times.
Yes. So Adam, when you, based on what you have seen, what mood, how would you describe the Guyanese people right now? What mood would you?
Look, a week or so ago, when the people responded to this same man, Muhammad, Jagdio went on television, that's the vice president, and called them stupid. Now, if you call me stupid, should I vote for you? But he called them stupid. And that in itself should have been a red flag to a lot of people and should have caused a reaction from the government.
Yes.
But knowing how the people behave and how the government stays, that is going to pass almost unnoticed by those supporters. But a lot depends on what the opposition now does on the ground. What do you use? I mean, you look at Trinidad, and the Prime Minister now, she campaigned on the shortcomings of the Rowley administration. That is what the opposition is going to do here. Campaign on the shortcomings. But will it have the same effect? Guyana is racially divided.
Yes.
Trinidad is not so racially divided. Suriname had their elections.
Yes, yes.
And it looked as though both the same party has come back strong.
Yeah, they have won the elections over there.
Yeah, but they'll have to form a coalition.
Yeah.
And they have voted against the old government of Santoki,
Yes.
which was a largely Indian and Asian-based government. The people voted against that. Now Suriname is a different kettle of fish. But we don't know. Let us see what happens in Guyana.
Yes. Let me ask you, the people, who are they blaming? Are they blaming the government for the death of that 11-year-old girl at the hotel?
Yes, they are blaming the government, and the government hasn't done anything to clear the air. They said that they brought in independent pathologists, but some of the people, when we checked their records, they weren't. One man came, he said he was invited by the government based on a recommendation from some CARICOM leaders. He came, he looked at the problems, and he said, what can I investigate? The police did not even interview the father and mother. And the police were angry with that. They said they tried to call the people, and one time they invited the father and the mother to the station. You want to interview a mourning person, you will invite them to the police station, you go to them. You sit in an area where they are comfortable talking with you. The police didn't do that. So that situation, the girl has not been buried, and it's more than a month since she died.
Yes, sir. And I can recall that there are other issues that the opposition will campaign, use as part of their campaign tool. Like, for example,
Yes,
that fire,
they will do that.
yes, that fire that killed 20 girls.
At Madia, yes, that
Yes.
killed those 20 children.
Yes,
All of those are going to be campaign issues.
yes,
But will the wider population listen? You know, that's it. Some people tune out and say, well. But you have the serious ones who are going to listen.
yes.
And whether they are going to vote is another story. So we will see.
Do you remember what percentage of registered voters voted in the last election?
The voter turnout was, I think, it probably was about 70%.
Okay.
Or 60 of the padded voters list. So when we get a percentage this time around, again, with a padded list, you cannot say for certainty that is an accurate percentage. Because, as I said, the list has many dead people and all of that.
Yes.
And you take the list as a whole when you compute the percentage.
Yes. Yes, sir. So far, what
Yeah.
is the latest on that case against that high-profile police officer?
Nothing. It's very silent at the moment. Very, very silent. He has a lot of charges, many charges, more than 200 charges. But that has not been going on. We're not hearing anything about that. Not hearing anything.
Silence.
So that and all. Yeah. You know, as some people say, he probably knows a lot. Because at one time, he went to, what do you call it, the media and the social media, and he spoke about some directives he got concerning the promotion of some Indian people to the exclusion of black people. He made that public. But after then, he has not said much. And we're not hearing about him. I don't know where he is. Somewhere in Georgetown.
Yes. Yes.
Because he's in the country. His wife left the country, and I don't think she came back.
Okay. Yes, sir. Yes. Lots of issues on the table over there in Guyana. And,
So from now we are going to hear, we are going to hear a lot. We are going to look at the various election campaigns,
yes, sir.
and that will tell us what the situation was. Starting from now, I suppose, we are going to see the campaigns.
Yes. Right. And Adam, how do you describe what mood the Guyanese people are in right now? How do you describe them?
There's some.
Yeah.
You have two words. There is some what you call disillusionment, because Guyana has all this money and the ordinary man in the street isn't getting any. And there is also some disgust. Look, they brought in two foreign artists. They brought in, I think, Kess was here from Barbados. Vibes Cartel was here. And one of the singers, she performed, and then she put on a coat to cover herself up and paid tribute to this dead girl. That sent a strong message. That sent a strong message that, you know, the wider world isn't accepting the nonsense that the girl wrong. And John Public has seen that. And in addition to that, we still have now the problem of the Venezuela border issue.
Yes, sir.
The way the government is handling that issue leaves a lot to be desired. Last week, they tendered a motion in the National Assembly, and the opposition has always said, look, we are united in objecting to Venezuela. But, as the opposition leader said, we made recommendations to the government, they never accepted them. We talked about forming a strong unity with Brazil, which is one of the countries in the region that will, you know, form a buffer between Guyana and Venezuela. There are about 54 African countries. In the days of Barnum and what have you with the non-aligned movement, we had the support of these countries, and these countries often voted with us. The government has ignored those countries. The motion made no mention of those African countries. And the opposition leader said, this motion is so porous that I can't even support it. And they walked out of the National Assembly. They didn't vote on it.
Wow. Well, you know that the government, the Venezuelan government had elections yesterday.
Yes. Yes. And we have not seen the results. We saw trickling in what they said was a very low voter turnout. Our government and our ambassador should have been reporting, but nothing has come. We don't know what's happening out there.
Yes, sir. It is, well, let us see what is going to happen. The elections are, date for the election is announced.
Yep.
So that is on the front burner right now. Yes. So
yes.
Let us see how that is going to happen.
Let us see what will happen.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah, that's what we have to do.
Yes.
We will have to look at all of that.
Yes. And what are the main issues, talking points of the Guyanese people right now? What would you say is mostly on their minds? What are they talking about?
Well, of course, everyone is talking about the absence of money and the hunger that a lot of people are suffering. People are talking about the discrimination against black people. They can't get jobs. As a matter of fact, if you go some places, the Venezuelans are being hired to do contracts at the expense of qualified, of local contractors. You go anywhere and the Venezuelans are working because they work for less. Like when we people from the Caribbean go to the United States illegally, we work off the books. Yes. We don't have all the big expenses, you know, like a rent to pay. We might be staying with somebody and we give them some money. We don't have a rent to pay. We don't have families out there to maintain. We would send some money back home for our family. Now the Venezuelans here, they do that. And then when they decide to rent a house in which 4 people would live, 20 of them would live in it. And they split that money.
Yes.
So their expense is less.
Yes.
You know, because some would be home in the day, some at nights, and that's how it is.
Yeah.
So if they rent a house for, let us say, $1,000 US, and you have 20 of them there a month, in 1 month, each of them will pay $50 US.
Yes.
That's nothing to them.
Okay.
The average Guyanese who lives here will not be able to get a house to rent for 50,000. And we are not going to live 20 in a house because a man has his wife and his children and all of that.
Yes.
So those are the disadvantages. The Venezuelans would therefore grab most of the jobs for less. And when they do that, they are excluding the qualified Guyanese contractors. That is a talking point.
Yes.
Another talking point has to do with the fact that, look, we are talking about the opposition being involved in matters of state. That is not happening. They are not invited to anything. You have a state visit, the opposition isn't invited. You had a forum on oil and gas, the opposition was not invited. And then you issue a statement to say you are sorry, but it was an oversight. And there have been many oversights like that, according to them. And I say oversight in quote. So those are all issues. It's as though the opposition doesn't exist. And the opposition represents almost half of the population.
Okay. Well,
So those are the talking points.
yeah. Well, Adam, let us see what is going to happen in the coming weeks. And
All right.
we'll keep talking about these issues. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you too, my brother. I'm here.
Yes. That was senior
All right.
journalist Adam Harris there telling us about what is happening in Guyana. And as I said, as you know, the elections, the date for the elections were announced yesterday. Yes. So elections are due there by September. All right, let us take a break. This is Rebel Radio.
When me drink and please never gonna tease her. Bum bum. You don't know so rubber dub health tonic wine, the finest wine. So all of the man them wanna tune into the wine here, you know. You say if you don't want to go long and strong, you just tune into rubber dub.
Tools, hardware and supplies is holding up the heat this summer with their super saving summer sale. Prices are slashed on everything you need to fix up your home. Beautiful tiles, sleek doors, top quality windows, modern sanitary ware, exclusive flooring and more. At Tools, hardware and supplies, we have you covered for the summer.
So come visit us at 279 Spanish Town Road, 4 South Camp Road, 8 Red Hills Road,
Or online at toolsja.com.
Tools!
The Lion King of Hardware.
Oh, Jamaica eyes were built with fire, passion and vibes, and through it all there's a glow inside. Let's keep our shine alive.
From the market to the factory floors, from the hillside green to golden shores.
We're reaching heights, our energy that lights the sky. Shine bright, Jamaica. Shine bright, Jamaica. Feel the rhythm, we're on track. Feel it, feel it. Together we rise. Together we
never rent.
What is to be will be. Come me just a come. Come me just a come and me no want no botheration. Come me just a come. Come me just a come and me no want no botheration. Come me just a come, me said that come me just a come. Me no want no botheration. Come me just a come. Come me just a come and me no want no botheration. Just to hear Jordan roll, roll Jordan roll, roll Jordan roll. I want to go to heaven when I die, just to hear River Jordan roll. My soul in the bosom of Abraham. Rock my soul in the bosom of Abraham. Rock my soul in the bosom of Abraham. Oh, rock my soul. Rock my soul in the bosom of Abraham. Rock my soul in the bosom of Abraham. Rock my soul in the bosom of Abraham. Oh, rock my soul. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. One bright morning, when this life is over, I fly away home. Home on God's celestial shore, fly away home. Fly away home to glory. Fly away home. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, fly fly away home. When I die, glory, hallelujah, by and by, I fly away home. Fly away home. I will fly, fly, yeah, fly away home. I will fly, I will fly away home. God in the day is still God in the night. Life is easy when you're on top of the mountain. You've got peace of mind like you never know. Yeah, but things change when you're down in the valley. Don't lose faith, or you're never alone. For the God of the mountain talk of faith when you're on top of the mountain, but talk them easy when life at its best, but it's down in the valley of trials and temptation. That's when your faith is really put to the test. Lord of mercy, for the God on the mountain is still God in the valley. When things go wrong, He'll make them right. Part of the good times is still God in the bad times. God in the day is still God in the night. God in the day, yeah, it's God in the night. Lord of mercy, when things goes wrong, make them cry. Yeah. Oh, bye. Lord of mercy, God in the day, God in the night, God in the fire. This is a message Lord, I've got to say to you, I'm so tired of living a humble and country life. When you were attracted to the bright city lights, you had a lot of money to spend on pretty girls and lovely things, just living it up as if you were a king. You had a whole lot of friends that you treated a vintage boy, but when the money ran out, they didn't stick around this time. There was a famine on the land, and you didn't really have a dime, so you had to go out to stay and feed with swine. But I will rise and go to my Father. I will rise and go to my Lord. Though I'm not worthy to be your son, but I could still be your servant. So I will rise and go to my Lord. There was a time when you realized that you went wrong, when you found out how material things have gone. You've been living like a rolling stone, no more will you roam, for there's a welcome for the prodigal son back home. I will rise and go to my Father. I will rise and go to my Lord. Though I'm not worthy to be your son, but I could still be your servant. I will arise and go to my Lord. When the son had chose to take that journey home, he didn't know his father would have compassion on his soul. He hugged and kissed his son so bold, and dressed him in fancy clothes. He put ring on his fingers and shoes on his feet to stroll. I will rise and go to my Father. I will rise and go to my Lord. Though I'm not worthy to be your son, but I could still be your servant. I will arise and go to my Lord. I will rise and go to my Father. I will rise and go to my Lord. Though I'm not worthy to be your son, but I could still be your servant. I will arise and go to my Lord. I will rise and go.
Well, the situation in Israel, in Gaza, has really, really deteriorated. Israel is raining bombs on the people, defenseless people. I want you to take a look at, listen to this video out of UK. This journalist is giving us, you know, a perspective of what is happening and how the world is responding to this brutality. Let's just listen to this video and watch this video.
So the first thing to say about this is that it's absolutely shameful that the only story we have about Gaza on tomorrow's front pages is about pro-Gaza protests in the UK. We have, a few days ago, an Israeli parliamentarian said on Israeli media, he said, we can do what we want. I'm paraphrasing. Nobody cares. We can kill 100 Palestinians in Gaza over one night, which has been happening with frequency, and nobody cares anymore. The world will just let us do it. And it seems that our media are determined to prove him right, because for weeks now, that is exactly what we've had. We've had a UK surgeon who's working out of a hospital in Gaza. He's been giving interviews and saying, this is what it's like. It's 100 killed one night, 150 killed another night, 75 another night. He says, this is a slaughterhouse. This is like being in a slaughterhouse. We have seen the Israeli government absolutely say the quiet part out loud, that what they're doing is ethnic cleansing in Gaza. And we are not covering it. It is not on the front pages of our newspapers. And that in itself is a disgrace. And that is what allows it to keep going on.
Okay, I mean, there have been statements, strongest statements ever from Keir Starmer and other European leaders, obviously.
Statements, but not action. Israel doesn't care about statements. The Israeli government, which is the most extreme government that Israel has ever had, and is saying out loud, we're going to corral Palestinians in Gaza, basically into a concentration camp in a little bit of the strip, and we're going to take over the rest. And is starving and slaughtering people on a daily basis. It does not care that Canada, France and the UK says, well, if you carry on doing this, we're going to do something terrible. We need to be actually taking action now, today. Action that Israel will be forced, compelled to listen to and stop. Everything else is meaningless and is allowing this to continue.
We haven't seen
President Dr. Irfan Ali on Sunday night announced that Guyana's general and regional elections will be held on Monday, September 1st, 2025. The Guyanese head of state made the announcement as he gave his presidential address for Guyana's 50th. President Dr. Irfan Ali on Sunday night announced that Guyana's general and regional elections will be held on Monday, September 1st, 2025. The Guyanese head of state made the announcement as he gave his presidential address for Guyana's 59th independence anniversary. The anniversary celebrations are at Albion, Berbice, this year. Dr. Ali said this decision comes after he engaged the chairwoman of the Guyana Elections Commission, GECOM, Justice Redit Claudette Singh, and has been assured of the commission's readiness to hold elections on this date. The president added that he will soon issue the proclamation for the dissolution of parliament.
Francis for the White House division, 1 truckload of fertilizer. This is what taxpayers' money is doing. Not delivered to RADA, delivered to our... This is not delivered to RADA, this is delivered to our personal business place. This is our business place. 1 truckload of fertilizer that's supposed to be delivered to RADA has been delivered to her business place. Stuart to Desmond McKenzie. Make Desmond McKenzie see this. Desmond McKenzie see this. This thing we say. Straight to Desmond McKenzie.
Let Floyd Green and Andrew Holness know that this is not how taxpayers' money is supposed to be spent, and they know that I will not stop until this is exposed fully.
And make them know that this is what Desmond McKenzie must come and talk about. This is what Desmond McKenzie must pay attention to.
She's right there.
afford. Striving alone to face temptation, so Lord of mercy, where do I go but to my Lord? Where do I go? Where do I go? Seeking a refuge for my soul.
history they don't teach you in school. After World War II, African soldiers who fought for France faced a shocking betrayal. In 1944, at Tiaroy, Senegal, hundreds of African troops who demanded equal pay were massacred by French forces. While official records claim only 35 to 75 died, historians believe nearly 400 were killed. For decades, this tragedy was buried until President Macron finally acknowledged it as a massacre in 2024. These soldiers, known as tirailleurs, sacrificed everything for France, only to be silenced when asking for what they earned. This forgotten chapter shows how colonial powers rewrote history, erasing their crimes against those who served them loyally.
Father God, Most High, to you I give all the glory. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Be not dismayed, whatever betide, God will take care of you. Hear that? Beneath His wings of love abide, God will take care of you. God will take care of you through every day, all the way. Mercy! He will take care of you. God will take care of you. No matter what may be the test, God will take care of you. Lead everyone about the Lord, and He will take care of you. Mercy! God will take care of you through every day, all the way. He will take care of you. God will take care of you. Lord of mercy. No matter what sickness it may be, yeah. No matter what problems you go through. Madam Anthony, when me drink come please her. Never gonna tease her. Boom bang. You don't know so rubber dub health tonic wine, the finest wine. So all of the man them wanna tune into the wine here, you know. You say if you don't want to go long and strong, you just tune into rubber dub.
Tools, hardware and supplies is holding up the heat this summer with their super saving summer sale. Prices are slashed on everything you need to fix up your home. Beautiful tiles, sleek doors, top quality windows, modern sanitary ware, exclusive flooring and more. At Tools, hardware and supplies, we have you covered for the summer.
So come visit us at 279 Spanish Town Road, 4 South Camp Road, 8 Red Hills Road,
or online at toolsja.com.
Tools!
The Lion King of Hardware.
Oh, Jamaica, eyes were built with fire, passion and vibes, and through it all there's a glow inside. Let's keep our shine alive.
From the market to the factory floors, from the hillside green to golden shores.
We're rich in minds, so energy that lights the sky. Shine bright, Jamaica. Shine bright, Jamaica. Feel the rhythm, we're on track. Feel it, feel it. Together we rise, together we climb. JPS Jamaica, together we shine.
Shine from the ends, shine with your family, shine with your friends. Light up the streets and make the vibes blend. Yo, JPS and make the shine never end.
back to Rebel Radio. Yes, and we are going back over to Guyana now to talk about topical issues in that country. We just talk about the announcement for elections. Well, you know, the Venezuelans have been staking claim to the Guyanese territory. And yesterday, I think they had elections to elect governors for the Essequibo region. All right, let us have a discussion on that now with senior Guyanese journalist Enrico Woolford. Enrico, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Desmond.
Yes, sir. Well, I saw where the president has announced that elections will be held by, in other words, he has announced the date for elections. So
in Guyana.
Yes. So I would imagine now that all the political parties, you know, are getting ready.
Yes, they will all have to get ready.
Yes.
For September 1st.
Right.
And as you know, we use the British system where you have nomination day and all of that.
Yes.
And nomination day would come so many days before election day after they've dissolved Parliament.
Right.
But we are going to have real elections in real Guyana, you know.
Yes, yes.
This is not a sham election. This is not to try to confuse people in the international community. That, you know, Guyana has always belonged to Guyanese. It's always been the borders that we've had since 1899 when the International Tribunal handled that matter and ruled on it. So it's only within the last 60 years, well, it was 60 years after that, 62 years to be precise, or 63, that Venezuela attempted to raise the matter again in 1962.
Yes.
When Guyana was about to become independent.
Right.
And everybody knows that why they did that, because they were concerned that Britain was going to give independence. Well, that's the impression they gave, that Britain was going to give independence, and if they stake a claim, it would stick somewhat.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Right. So yesterday, I believe that they had elections to elect governors for the Essequibo region. Have you heard anything about those elections?
Yes, we've heard about that. It was a sham. Mm-hmm. It was a ridiculous exercise in which they're using a form of saying that persons who are interested in annexing somebody else's territory would vote to do so. That is palpably wrong, patently wrong, and positively wrong from the point of view that you cannot just decide that you are going to hold elections in a territory that doesn't belong to you, and about a territory that doesn't belong to you.
Right.
But here's the catch, Desmond and all the listeners, is that if you're not paying attention to international relations, and if you're not paying attention to how societies, functions, and democracies work, you can be carried away that there were elections, that people indeed voted. They didn't vote in Guyana. Guyana, that is, had journalists scattered all across the Essequibo. That's a county that Venezuela wants to annex.
Yes.
All across Guyana, and nobody noticed, nobody observed, nobody was able to report that persons were casting ballots, doing voting in Guyana's territory. Venezuela has tried all sorts of subterfuges to get Guyana's land for obvious reasons. And those reasons are very economic, very political, and none of them are historic. Now, let me add that Guyana has always controlled that territory of Essequibo. All the years, for nearly 400 years, Guyana has been in control. And as former Foreign Minister Carl Greenwich and now the agent for India, that will adjudicate in this matter. Mr. Greenwich points out that Guyana controlled that territory even before the country of Venezuela was formed. The country of Venezuela when Guyana controlled Essequibo.
Yeah.
And when Guyana controlled Essequibo, it was part of a Dutch possession. It would get, there were the Dutch had operations on the in Guyana's west. The Dutch also were on east. The British were part of Demerara. That's how we ended up with Demerara sugar, or Demerara crystals. So essentially, when the three counties amalgamated in the early 1800s, and we are going to be marking the 200th anniversary of British Guyana, when the British took over in 1831, I think, or 32, then it became British Guyana. So we have been in control of that territory for 200 years as British Guyana, and before that, for another 200 years before that, when it was part of a Dutch possession. The Spanish never, I don't know how more emphatically to say this, never controlled Essequibo.
Okay.
In fact, Guyana, as is, lost territory in the 1899 award, because we were supposed to have territory going all the way to the Orinoco.
Oh, I see. So
yes, if we know geography of the region, when the Schomburg line, that's the international demarcation line, was drawn, Guyana, that presently exists, lost territory to the Spanish, to Venezuela. And Brazil has also made it very clear that they're not going to redemarcate or demarcate again their borders, because for you to claim Essequibo, it means that you are saying that the border with Brazil is now at a different point. Brazil signed an agreement and put markers, 3 countries that on Mount Roraima. There's a tri-marker, meaning 3 countries: Brazil, Venezuela, and Guyana. So can't just get up a morning, hold an election in your country to claim another country.
Yes, it is ridiculous.
It is beyond ridiculous, and it is beyond a sham.
Yes.
It is madness.
So you're saying that yesterday journalists were posted all over in the Essequibo region, and they saw no voting. No voting was done there yesterday.
No voting was done there.
Yes.
Journalists all over the area.
Yes.
We also had Ghana's military in the area. We also had the regular residents in the area.
Yes.
And no voting was done in Ghana's territory at all.
Yes.
So to come up and announce that you now have a governor of Essequibo and you now do this and so on, it is as, I'm a journalist, I don't want to sound political. But the last time there was an election in Venezuela, you never saw what happened, but a winner was announced.
Mm-hmm.
And the American State Department and the Western Bureau of the State Department made a very terse and pointed statement with regard to what Maduro and the government there, what they're trying to do. I mean, you can't legitimize something by doing an illegitimate act. You can't use an illegal act to make something legal. It is not that's not the way the world runs.
Yes, sir.
The world runs according to a rule of law, and the International Court of Justice will have to rule on it because Guyana, under the then President David Granger, moved to the court to have that matter settled.
Yes, yes.
And the matter is not about Essequibo, it's about Guyana's borders.
Yes.
Guyana's borders have been drawn since 1899, and the court has to rule that Guyana's borders have not changed since 1899.
Yeah.
Matter settled.
Yes. I observe, Enrico, that in recent weeks there has been 2 incidents where Guyanese soldiers have been fired on in the region. But I don't get the impression that it was a military, it was the Venezuelan military that was responsible for that.
Even then, we're not even sure, because the other thing you could do is let your military take off their military clothes and fire, and then say, "Oh, it's not us; it's some other gang." Come on. The purpose of a state is to protect people within the state and to not cause conflict outside of the state.
Yes.
You are not supposed to just have people firing guns willy-nilly into another state, because it can be perceived as an act of war. And Guyana has not been engaged in any war with Venezuela or anybody for that matter.
Yes.
So for you to have armed gangs, whether you call them persons dressed in civilian uniform, whether you say they're drug cartel gangs or what have you, it is for the state to protect its own people and to protect its borders within the state, not outside of the state. You cannot get up and start firing wild and crazy, particularly against the military of another state.
Yes.
That is provocation.
That is.
Whether it's by civilians or by the military.
Yes.
And in this case, Guyana reported that persons dressed in civilian uniform. And I have no reason to doubt the Guyana Defense Force with regard to its credibility and integrity.
And another thing that I learned is that is it true, or do you know if it is true, that Venezuelans have been crossing over and have taken up residence in the Essequibo region?
No. Let us put it this way. Because of what has been happening in Venezuela in terms of the failings of that state, persons who had border towns are like that. Persons who had crossed over probably to work when Venezuela was seeing better days, and Guyana had certain issues with regard to economic development and growth. Some persons were on the Venezuela side of the border. Guyana struck oil for 10 years now and has seen rapid growth in terms of the economy because of oil. It's not just a government that manages a country. It is how persons perceive the country and whether that country has money. You know, the reason you go to the bank is because the bank holds your money.
Yes.
Now, Guyana has money, so persons have come across the border. Some of them have been Venezuelans. Now, here is the challenge. Guyana and some members of the opposition, some members of civil society, some members of the government even have said that Guyana needs to have a migration policy. Guyana needs to keep tabs of who these Venezuelans are and whether those persons can come across the border as part of Venezuela's military divisions and embed themselves in Guyanese society and then create problems for Guyana later on. The Guyana government has taken a position that there are so many in terms of numbers. The foreign secretary, unfortunately, made a post claiming that there were 100,000 persons of Guyanese ancestry who have come from Venezuela or have Venezuelan ancestry. Today, he clarified that post by claiming that it was a guesstimate. It wasn't an actual number that the government of Guyana had endorsed. It's probably a good thing that Guyana's foreign secretary has moved to clarify that that 100,000 may have been a guesstimate on his part at a personal level. It is unfortunate that he made that post, and then in Parliament the numbers were much less. Yes. Now, this is not to say that persons have not crossed the border over the years, but the numbers, the Guyana government has to clearly say what those numbers are, particularly when Guyana will have elections on September 1st. That you do not want to register people who are not Guyanese, have not been resident in Guyana, are not connected to Guyana in any form or fashion, and are allowed to vote in Guyana's elections unless the law allows them to do that as it does with regard to Commonwealth citizens. Commonwealth citizens, you're Jamaican, for example. Jamaica is part of the Commonwealth. If Desmond, you were working in Guyana for over a certain period and you've been living in Guyana, you can register to vote in Guyana's elections because you're a Commonwealth citizen.
Yes.
But Venezuela is not part of the Commonwealth.
No. No.
Right. So the judge can't come over and vote.
No. But as you say, as it might be possible for that to happen right now because the system, in other words, no proper check has been done.
And that is a danger when you're a country that did not have had resources but didn't have the actual money to do it. So we have an enormously long border from Point de Playa going all the way south beyond Aishalton. I like to tell people, if you're looking at a map of Guyana, we're just above the equator, and we go almost 8 degrees north of the equator. And if you extended it to the exclusive economic zone, it's nearly 10 degrees north. Now, Jamaica, for example, is 18 degrees north of the equator.
Yes.
So you realize what I'm saying? And you just have to go another 8 degrees from Guyana's exclusive economic zone, and you're in Jamaica.
Yes.
Right? So Guyana itself occupies a huge chunk of that part of the world. So if you flip into the Atlantic Caribbean side, we're in Jamaica.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. When you go from Guyana's largest point, not largest point, from the where Guyana, the northernmost point, and you flip the country using the entire length of the country, you've taken up the whole of the Caribbean.
Yes.
Until you get to Jamaica. That's what I'm trying to say. And when we say it, we're not really joking. It's not really funny, but it makes the point. You can take all of the Caribbean islands, all of them, with the exception of Jamaica and Cuba, I think, and drop them into Guyana, and they will fit.
Yes. Guyana is large. We know.
It's large.
Yes.
And for a country that is now run into money, to monitor that border that is long is quite difficult.
Yes.
And Venezuela can take advantage of our western border, and has been saber rattling for a little while in that regard.
Yeah.
So we've got to be on the qui-vive. We've got to be alert. We've got to be conscious of the challenge that Venezuela poses to Guyana's territorial integrity and its ability to defend our borders. I'm a fellow of the Center for International Border Studies, CIB, that is headed by Dr. Mark Curtin, and Dr. Curtin has done a lot of educational work, educative work in Brazil, in Guyana. He is just in an area called Bartica, which is a town in the Essequibo, pointing out the history of Guyana's borders, the way forward, the solutions, and it is interesting that the Guyanese people have to be continually and continuously educated about our own territory because of the threat of Venezuela on the west.
Yes. But Enrico, just a little diversion here is that the elections now date has been announced. But with 3 months to go, it would appear as if all those flaws in the electoral record, in other words, we know that you don't have a clean voters list. So all those flaws, the elections are going to be held on a flawed voters list.
And that in itself is a challenge, because Guyana has always had challenges with voting patterns, voting lists, results of the elections.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been hoping over the years as a journalist that we will be able to overcome those challenges. Unfortunately, we seem not to want to get things fixed in a manner that will result in credible elections that are free from fear and are free, fair, and as I said, credible. Now, it is up to the political parties who want to participate in the election to do the groundwork, to make sure that persons are registered, persons who are on the list and eligible to vote can vote, persons who are on the list but are ineligible, meaning they are dead, they are not in the country, they are not in the area where they're supposed to vote, that those persons do not and cannot vote, or persons cannot vote for them if they are dead and are no longer physically able to vote. So it just gives the political parties a lot more work to do when you go into an election with a flawed voters list.
Yes. Enrico, we have to leave it there today, but it's really interesting times, because that situation there with Venezuela, we just hope that it will, it can be resolved, because we don't want any conflict in this region. We don't have time for that. We don't want that. So we have to just keep it on the front burner and, keep our eyes focused on that matter. I want to thank you very much for your time this afternoon, and let us say to be continued.
Okay, thanks, Desmond. Thanks to our listeners.
Yes. That was senior journalist Enrico Woolford, yes, keeping us abreast of what is happening on that situation with Venezuela. Yes. Okay. Coming up next is Workers' Time. Let us go for a break.
Drink and please never gonna tease her. Boom bang. You don't know, so rubber dub 8 tonic wine, the finest wine. So all of the man them wanna tune into the wine here, You say if you don't want to go long and strong, you just tune into rubber dub.
Tools, hardware and supplies is holding up the heat this summer with their super saving summer sale. Prices are slashed on everything you need to fix up your home. Beautiful tiles, sleek doors, top quality windows, modern sanitary ware, exclusive flooring and more. At Tools, hardware and supplies, we have you covered for the summer.
So come visit us at 279 Spanish Town Road, 4 South Camp Road, 8 Red Hills Road,
or online at toolsja.com.
Tools!
The Lion King of Hardware.
lights keep our shine alive.
From the market to the factory floors, from the hillside green to golden shores.
We're reaching heights, our energy that lights the sky. Shine bright, Jamaica. Shine bright, Jamaica. Feel the rhythm, we're on track. Feel it, feel it. Together we rise, together we climb. JPS Jamaica, together we shine.
Shine from the ends, shine with your family, shine with your friends. Light up the streets and make the vibes blend. Yo, JPS, and make the shine never end.
Oh Lord, my God, when I'm in awesome wonder, consider all thy works thy hand doth make. I see the stars, I hear the mighty thunder, thy power throughout the universe display. Then sings my soul, my Savior God to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. When through the woods, the forest glades I wander, and hear the birds sing sweetly in the trees. When I look down from lofty mountain grandeur, and hear the brook and feel the gentle breeze, then sings my soul, my Savior God to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. I think of God, His Son, not sparing, sent Him to die. I scarce can take it in. Then on the cross, my burden gladly bearing, He bled and died to take my sins away. Then sings my soul, my Savior God to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. That sings my soul, my Savior God to thee. How great thou art, Almighty God, how great thou art. I need you, Lord, right now. Yeah, yeah. I must tell Jesus.
Yes, welcome. It's time for workers' time, you know. This is where we spend some time on Mondays looking at what is happening at the workplace. Yes. And this evening we have with us the president of the Nurses Association. This is Dawn Richards. my cousin, and the president of JALGO, Mrs. Eileen Davis White. Good evening, ladies.
Good evening, Mr. Richard.
Yes, yes. So let me start with you, Ms. Richards. What is the latest? I mean, physically, with about that nurse who was savagely beaten. How is she doing?
She is recuperating at an unknown location.
Okay. All right. Glad to know that. So she must be still broken though.
You're right, the memory. Yes, she is.
Yes, yes. Okay. What are some of let us know what are some of the main issues impacting the nurses at this time, Mrs. Richards?
In relation to?
Well, generally, what are working conditions? What are some of the main issues facing the nurses right now in Jamaica?
Well, not much has changed. We continue to have the challenges with infrastructure. We continue to have the challenges with things to work with. We continue to face abuse from clients and their relatives. And we continue to, well, occasionally now we are plagued with issues with payments payments to be made to us. We have those challenges.
Mm-hmm. Infrastructure. So you are saying that at the hospitals and clinics, they are not in workable conditions?
Space-wise, we have challenges.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. And equipment, there is shortage of equipment necessary to deliver effective and proper health care.
Yeah, basic things. We still continue to have those challenges.
Yeah. Our nurses, tell me something, Ms. Richards. Hospitals are still faced with the situation where they don't, in other words, there's a shortage of drugs.
For some areas, yeah, for some areas, but I can't comment much on that one.
You can't comment on that?
No.
Okay. And you spoke about abuse. This is what? No, abuse from patients?
And relatives, yes.
Okay. But what triggers that? What triggers the abuse from? Why patients are abusing nurses? What is behind that?
Most times it is because of the discomfort that they would have to face.
Oh.
So your person's coming sick, and you're giving them a chair to sit on, or so on. Those things can trigger different feelings and emotions.
Okay. Yes, I understand that because I realize that some hospitals are still plagued with a shortage of beds. So patients.
A lot of that we have. Yeah, we have a lot of issues with that.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of issues with that.
Wow. Yes. And how the management is addressing these issues? I mean, the issues with the shortage of drugs, the unavailability of space and beds and all that.
The unavailability of space cannot be solved as a 1, 2, 3 because that is going to mean expansion.
Right.
That is going to mean expansion.
But what about beds and all that? How are they responding to that?
But even if you get beds, Mr. Richards, you don't have anywhere to put it. We need a space. So we have a space that was made to hold 25, and it has 40 in it already. You can't add another 10 to it. You already are compromised.
Yes.
So you're going to need the space.
Okay. Yes. The another issue that I know has been plaguing the nursing profession over the years is migration. Since the adjustment in salaries, has that been reduced?
No.
Nurses continue to migrate.
No, it has not, sir.
No, nurses continue to migrate in the numbers they were before?
Not in the numbers, but the persons who have gotten, who is a process. So the persons who would have gotten through already, those are the persons who are being processed now.
Yes. And how are the nurses? This year is negotiation year, salary negotiation year. Am I right?
Yes.
So how has that been? That process has started already?
Not officially.
But claims have been served.
Yes.
I see. Well. It is really challenging situation.
Yes, it is.
Yes. Madam White.
It's a process, so
yes.
We know it's a process, so we'll wait on the process.
Yeah. Madam White, what is happening to your members in Jalgo? What is the latest? What is happening at the workplace?
Evening again, Desmond.
Yeah.
Hi, Mr. Dawn. How are you? Hope you're well.
Hi, Mrs. White. I'm good. Yes, it's a while I haven't heard your voice.
You know, so it goes. Yes, Desmond. But my members span almost the entire gamut of the public sector.
Yes.
Because we represent persons in the Jamaica Fire Brigade, both the uniformed and the non-uniformed staff. We are at the National Water Commission. We are in schools. We are in the health sector via our members who are patient care assistants. We are in the parish councils. We are in some other government departments as well. So our membership is really very wide.
Yes.
Yes. So if I were to give a general overview, I think some of the challenges that Sister Dawn referred to are actually being experienced, and this is in terms of infrastructure now and shortage of equipment and so on. That is a situation that I think runs the entire public sector. There have been efforts over the years to try and solve the problem, but we have really only been putting really a band-aid on our sore in many respects. And so those challenges still continue. In the Jamaica Fire Brigade, we do have some fire stations that are, that need to be removed, particularly as we speak, the fire station in Morant Bay.
Yes.
Is in a deplorable condition, but when we work with the Jamaica Fire Brigade, we are having difficulties in locating alternative space so that we could have another fire station erected.
Yes.
And so in the interim, the firefighters continue to work under really, really terrible conditions there. And we have, over the years, seen where there have been some improvement, but as I say, those challenges in terms of infrastructure and lack of equipment still continue.
Yes.
Similar situation with the National Water Commission. I think in terms of space and working conditions, I think the one that comes to mind very readily is the Port Maria office of the National Water Commission that had to be relocated. Was supposed to have been temporary, but that temporary now I think is over 10 years. And the conditions where they have been relocated to have now become also unbearable. So, those are the two that stand out in my mind when we're looking at the conditions at the workplace.
Yes, yes, yes.
Generally speaking, we are, when it comes to, wage negotiations, we are part of the joint claim submitted by the Jamaica Confederation of Trade Unions in respect of most of our members. It probably would exclude the National Water Commission and to a lesser extent the Jamaica Fire Brigade, because those two entities are they are actually separate and distinct in that they are run by their statutory bodies that are run by boards, and so the negotiation process is not exactly the same.
Yes.
But over the year, we have adopted a position whereby we are prepared to accept whatever rates have been settled with the Jamaica Confederation of Trade Unions. And when we're saying rates, now we're talking about percentage increase. So, whatever is negotiated with the JCTU, we are prepared to accept. And I think we have come to that position generally among the unions of the Confed, because I think we recognize that, over the years we had been virtually fooling ourselves if we believed that, the government would settle with 10% for one group and 30% for another group. Over the years, it has been shown that the increases have been basically across the board on wages and certain allowances that go across the public sector. So really, when we submit wage claims for groups like the National Water Commission and the Jamaica Fire Brigade, is really in respect of items that are peculiar to both sectors, meaning they are not actually paid, and even if they are paid on a different basis than is the case with the central public sector. Mm-hmm. So we have submitted claims for the Jamaica Commission, and we are now negotiations. I will tell you that we recently, I think it was late last year, the JCTU settled on some outstanding matters that were there with the government of Jamaica. And those are, I think, the last one that the JCTU arrived at a compromise position with the government was in respect to the payment of increments.
Yes.
And the government had agreed that they would advance workers along the pay bands dependent on their length of service at the time when the compensation review was implemented. And so there are persons who have started to receive the new rates based on the advancement along the pay bands. So some persons have advanced by 3 levels, others by 2, and others by 1. Every
Yes.
time you advance on a pay band, on the pay band, you see equivalent of a 2.5% increase in pay. So it means that anybody who has advanced 3 levels on the pay band will be receiving, if you aggregate, close to 8% increase in pay once they have started to make to effect the agreement between the government and the JCTU. So that has provided a kind of buffer, you may want to call it, in terms of what may have happened to the rates that were implemented. And when I say happened, in relation to the effect of inflation since then.
Mm-hmm.
So it has provided that kind of buffer. So it means that when we get to the bargaining table, we will be seeking to ensure that our members receive rates of pay that will at least allow them to keep pace with inflation.
Yes. You know something, Madam President, Mrs. Richards, there's something that I want to ask you. Based on the last salary adjustments, I was made to understand that the nurses were, in other words, their salaries had moved to a point where they were satisfied. And, there wasn't much disgruntlement with salaries. Now, is that true? Madam Richards? What? I'm not hearing, Madam.
Sorry about that.
Yes.
Hi. You were muted, sorry.
Oh.
Yes, there are still some concerns because the implementation and continues to be a challenge in some areas, especially for the extra hours work.
Oh. So, but you would say that nurses are fairly satisfied now? Are they in a better position as it really as it relates to salaries? Would you say that?
To a point.
Yes.
No, Mr. Richards.
Huh?
Because what can be better for you may not be better for me.
Yes. Understood. So then, apart from tell me something about training. How is that going?
Well, persons continue to enjoy the what was always in place for training, and with the advent of the bariatric, persons are utilizing that aspect as part of the negotiations for the Nurses Association of Jamaica. We also have a scholarship program where we offer scholarships and grants to nurses and children of privileges.
Okay. But the profession, you are still suffering from a shortage, though. There is still a manpower shortage.
Yes, man. Chronic. Yes, we have a chronic shortage still. Yes, we still have a chronic shortage.
How bad that is right now? Well, you say it is chronic, so.
Okay, though.
Yes. So you need hundreds of nurses right now. That is the situation.
Yes, we do.
Well, and have you had any signs from the government that this will be addressed within the medium or short term?
outside of the specialist nurses that the conversation is always about, no. But I know that there is some recruitment in place in relation to Africa and India.
And those,
as well as the Philippines.
And those are for specialist nurses. Those recruitment.
I don't want to be specific because I don't know. I'm not a part of the recruitment.
Okay. Well. Now, what are your members saying about, when you check with your members at Cornwall Regional, what are they saying?
Cornwall Regional, they're having challenges they continue to have challenges with mold growth, and that is a major concern at this time.
Yeah? But I thought that matter had been settled.
No, it's not.
Wow. Boy. It is. No. So, I have to laugh, but it's not a laughing matter. Not a laughing matter at all. And at Children's Hospital, what are your members saying?
Of the?
Children's Hospital.
What children's hospital are you talking about? The existing one?
Yes,
or
ma'am.
the one to come?
No, the existing hospital I'm talking about.
In Montego Bay?
No, the one in Kingston.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I am saying, what are your members saying about that? What are your members?
I don't have any concerns. I don't have any concerns about that one at this time.
Yeah.
Apart from the basic complaints, the lack of staff, inadequate staff, I should say, and that kind of thing. I don't have any other concerns from them.
All right. Yes. Well, I tell you what, ladies, just hold it there for me. Did you say, Miss Risha, did you say you have to go? We want to go for a break. Are you want?
Go.
Huh? You just hold on.
Go for the break, huh?
Yeah, just hold on and you can go after the break. Just hold on for me, and you can go after the break. This is Rebel Radio. We're on workers' time. Let's go for a break.
Drink and please never gonna tease her. Boom bang. You don't know it's a rubber dub 8 tonic wine, the finest wine. So all of the man them wanna tune into the wine here, you know. You say if you don't want to go long and strong, you just tune into rubber dub.
Tools, hardware and supplies is holding up the heat this summer with their super saving summer sale. Prices are slashed on everything you need to fix up your home. Beautiful tiles, sleek doors, top quality windows, modern sanitary ware, exclusive flooring and more. At Tools, hardware and supplies, we have you covered for the summer.
So come visit us at 279 Spanish Town Road, 4 South Camp Road, 8 Red Hills Road,
or online at toolsja.com.
Tools!
The Lion King of Hardware.
Oh, Jamaica, eyes were built with fire, passion and vibes, and through it all, there's a glow inside. Let's keep our shine alive.
From the market to the factory floors, from the hillside green to golden shores.
We're rich in lights, our energy that lights the sky. Shine bright, Jamaica. Shine bright, Jamaica. Feel the rhythm, we're on track. Feel it, feel it. Together we rise, together we climb. JBS Jamaica, together we
Supplies is on the
I'm living for Jesus. Living for Jesus. Yeah. Oh, I wanna be remembered as a man who sings songs for Jesus Christ, who was willing to lay down his life, do his will no matter what the price. Well, I'm singing for the deaf man who can hear about salvation through my song. And I'm singing for the blind man who can see the light in me and come along. Live for Jesus, that's what matters. And when other houses crumble, mine be strong. Live for Jesus, that's what matters. Let you see the light in me and come along. La 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 la. There are times when I am tempted to turn off the rugged road that traveled on. There are times when I say, Jesus, can you find another man to sing your song? Well, I know I'm not the only one that could sing this melody. But he has chosen me to bless me and to lead me into what is best for me. Live for Jesus, that's what matters. And when other houses crumble, mine be strong. Live for Jesus, that's what matters. That you see the light in me and come along. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Oh, I wanna be remembered as a man who sings songs for Jesus Christ, who was willing to lay down his life, do his will no matter what the price. Live for Jesus, that's what matters. That when other houses crumble, might be strong. Live for Jesus, that's what matters, yeah. That you see the light in me and come along. Live for Jesus, that's what matters. And when other houses crumble, mine be strong. Live for Jesus, that's what matters, yeah. That you see the light in me and come along. That you see the light in George and come along. That you see the light in me and come along. That you see the light in me and come along. That you see the bright shining light and come along. That you see the light in me and come along. Come along. That you see the light in me and come along. My Redeemer, yeah. Yes, he lives. Yes, he lives forever, yeah. Who taught the sun where to stand in the morning? And who taught the ocean you can only come this far? And who showed the moon where to hide till evening? Whose words alone can catch a falling star? Well, I know my Redeemer lives, and I know my Redeemer lives. Let all creation testify his
video and we are at workers' time. Miss White only, I don't get back Miss Richards, so we have to just continue with you. When you, Miss White, you being an experienced labor leader, when you know something I want to ask you is when you look at the year so far, 2025, we are almost in the middle of the year. What do you see as far as the workers are concerned so far this year? How would you describe the year for the workers so far?
To look at workers generally and not just public sector workers.
Yes.
I think most workers are experiencing challenges with the cost of living. Because many of the workers in Jamaica have not received increases in pay coming out of the pandemic.
Yes.
Because a lot of the analysis and commentary tends to focus on the public sector, and the public sector fared out fairly well during the pandemic and since the pandemic. The public sector was one of the few places where increases were actually granted during the pandemic because they had been agreed and the government did carry out and implement those agreements during the pandemic. We didn't have any major loss of staff during the pandemic either. And when we compare our experience as against those in the private sector, you find that for most private sector employers, they did not increase. Some actually implemented pay cuts during the pandemic. In many places, they had to lay off staff for long periods, and in many instances, either those staff members decided not to go back to work or they were not called back to work. Because one of the phenomena that has come out of the pandemic is that workers who in the past would have felt that they had no option at all discovered that they had options in terms of what people call gig work, meaning that, you know, you really are basically self-employed. So a lot of persons ended up doing things like courier deliveries, those kinds of things. Some entered into enterprise and have started to sell their products online, and all kinds of things have come out of the pandemic. But by and large, what we have found is that those workers in the private sector have not fared out as well as the workers in the public sector in terms of what has happened to their pay since the pandemic.
Yes.
There has been an increase in the minimum wage, and yes, it is. Increase may not be described as paltry, but in actual money terms and, you know, what you actually receive, it may not be able to do as you would like. But there was a substantial increase in the minimum wage. Nonetheless, what we have to do is look at our labor force and see how many persons, especially school leavers, enter the workplace at that bottom level. And very, very near to minimum wage, a little above, but very near to minimum wage. And we're talking about a lot of persons who work in shops and fast food restaurants and so on. those have not seen the kind of increases that I think they would like to see. And so they are not doing very well in terms of coping with the cost of living.
Yes.
That is not to say that problems in the public sector. There are problems, and over the years, I have found that you could negotiate 100% increase in pay. By the time you come around to do the next round of negotiations, that has been forgotten because inflation, and people have become accustomed to the new rates of pay, so they now are looking for more. So we are at a point where in the public sector, workers are still demanding more pay, but as I indicated earlier, they would have benefited by the equivalent of about an 8% increase in pay for those who were here, who were in the public sector in 2022 at the time when the compensation review, they started to implement it. Those persons would benefit by an average of about an 8% increase, and you would have the others benefiting by 4-5% if you had 2 years since the pandemic, and then some would be benefiting by just about 2.5% if they were only here 1 year since the pandemic. So I talk about the pandemic because the compensation review started to be implemented at the end of the pandemic, which is April of 2022. So we do have those challenges that workers have to face. And when you talk about cost of living, a lot of persons really don't believe inflation figures because they're saying, when they see what they have to be doing, it's far more than that. And, as responsible trade unionists, we would have to point out to them what the inflation actually measures and how it is measured as an average movement. And so you will find that it will not be the same for every good and service. The inflation is about what was the average movement over a period in time. So, but truth of the matter is that, if it is just going to the supermarket, if you and I go, we will know clearly, what $100 could have bought or $10,000 could have bought a couple of years ago. It can't buy now. So, people are under those kinds of pressures. We have problems with housing because workers complain, particularly in urban centers, Kingston and St. Andrew, and probably not as bad in St. Catherine, where we have more units going up. But the cost of housing is something that has begun to skyrocket. And that also is a very real problem for workers at this point in time.
Yes.
One thing I would want to zero in on, based on the discussion that you were having with Sister Dawn earlier, what one has found is that there has been so much miscommunication around this compensation review. Most persons in Jamaica, if you ask them, when they think about the compensation review, they think of what was paid to parliamentarians, and they come away with a view that what was paid to public sector work so far from the truth. We do have workers who were paid a minimum increase of 30%. I think it was 25 or 30%. That was the minimum increase that was paid. And you spoke about nurses. Our members in the health sector, they got substantial increases. As I said, nobody's ever satisfied. So I can't say I have a satisfied workforce. but they got substantial increases in pay. And this is why I say the situation for the public sector workers are a little bit different than for workers in the private sector. Although when you speak, want to accept that, the evidence is there to suggest that the situation for the public sector worker is much better during and since the pandemic than for workers in the private sector.
Yes, yes. You know, something I would like you to pensioners. You have to deal with pensioners.
Yes, in fact, the way our organization is structured, we have a grouping called the pensioners grouping, and those persons continue to enjoy service from the union. They may retain their membership, but even if they don't retain their membership, when they have difficulties, they ask us to make representation on their behalf, and that is a core problem.
I am trying to understand the increase that was announced by the minister for pensioners, because I understand when I look is like $400 and $600 on what they are getting now. And
what you have to do when you're talking about the public sector, we have not just NIS pension, we have our pension plan, which is based on also you have the public sector pension plan, which pays out pension to public sector workers based on the number of years that they worked and the salary at the point when they're leaving the organization. Well, an average of the last 3 years' salary, if my memory serves me right. Sorry, so that is totally different from the NIS pension. So usually when you hear...
Yeah, the announcement by the minister, it was for NIS pensioners.
Yes. The situation with the NIS pension now is that you have... I heard recently that the fund did extremely well. With the NIS pension, the payments have to deal with... have to be based on how the fund is performing. So although you have some things that are legislated and the minister has the ability to change it in terms of granting increases, those increases have to be granted according to the performance of the fund so that you can ensure that you are able to make the payments to the pensioners. And part of the thing with NIS is that it doesn't, the contribution that you make for NIS doesn't only provide you with the pension, the old age pension, it provides you with pension in the event that you are injured on the job as well. It provides you, with, well, that is called invalidity pension, and also there are other benefits that are paid from the same contribution. So, what I think has happened in recent times is that when they did an actuarial review, it was found that if they did not increase the contribution, there would be problems in terms of the ability of the fund to make the payments. So the last set of increases in contributions, particularly for persons who earn over a particular amount, was found to be necessary because of what was happening to the fund and its ability to continue to make payments whenever people retired or for whatever other benefit that the NIS contribution actually provides. So that increase sounds to the average person as if it is nothing. Because, you know, what can $400 do? I think was $400 per week.
Yes.
So, you know, people sort of come away with that is nothing. But as I indicated, it's not something that the government of Jamaica takes up some funds from somewhere and makes a payment. It has to do with the fund and its ability to make payments to the beneficiaries whenever that call is made.
Okay. I understand. So it boils down to a question of affordability, what the funds can afford to pay.
Yes, and I was heartened. I think it was a couple of weeks ago I saw something in the media that said that the fund seemed to have performed fairly well over the last. I think they did some evaluation of it and it seemed to have performed fairly well, which means that there should be the possibility of additional increases over time as well.
Yes. Well, as you pointed out that the public sector workers, they were better in terms of salaries. They receive better pay than those in the private sector, and that is
I wouldn't better pay overall,
No.
I would say
No.
overall because
I understand.
The truth is, no, go ahead.
I understand you clearly, Mrs. White, because what is clear in the salary adjustments that were made in the last 2 years is that the rank and file workers, what they receive is far less than what those at the top receive. Whether it was in the police force, the nurses, the teachers, or wherever, those at the top receive substantial increases, but the rank and file workers receive far less than that. So
yes, and there is no doubt. One of the things that we continue to try to educate people, including our members, about is that these increases were granted arising out of surveys that were done for the various groups. They weren't able to do every group, but there is a statistical means of being able to develop this kind of work. And what was done is to look at what was happening in the private sector, and the government agreed that they would pay public sector workers at 50% of what was the could be deemed to be comparable job in the private sector. So what was found in doing that work is that some jobs were underpaid more than others vis-a-vis the private sector. So you would have some groups that in terms of the pay that they were receiving, it was not as far from the private sector as others. And what was found is that the technical groups and the higher levels of the managerial groups were the ones that were further from the market than those that were at the bottom. So if I can speak, because I represent several of them at the bottom, their average increase over the 3-year period was about 80 to 90% increase in pay. Before the compensation review, they were being paid just at about $10,000, a little under $10,000 per week. And at the end of the compensation review, they are now in receipt of close to $1,900 per week. So that tells you what...
1,900 or 19,000?
Sorry, 1,000 per week.
Yes.
So they are moved from 10,000 to 19,000 per week. So that tells you what is the increase that they receive. But you have others. I have one group that when they came out, they were actually closer to 200%.
Yes.
Because of what's happening in the market with their group and the kind of work that they did. So you found that there are particularly the technical groups and the higher levels of the managerial groups, they were the ones who were further from the market. Most of the health sector did not fare off badly either, still not adequate as most would say, but they did not fare off badly. I think for those in the health sector, as with the rest of the public sector, the groups that experienced problems were those who were traveling officers, because the traveling was absorbed into pay. So those were the ones. And that would, when I did the math, it was about probably 25-30% of the public sector that was that who were traveling officers and who did not fare off as well as their counterparts elsewhere in the public sector. So you see, because it was not an across the board percentage increase, but it was really about going out and valuing the jobs in the labor market, it would mean that you would not, all jobs are not valued at the same level. And so their attempt was to try and ensure. So if you were to say nurses, you would want to ensure that your nurses in the labor market were able to be paid at a level that, you know, when you did the comparison in Jamaican terms, they would at least be at 50% of the market. And in some groups, they ended up being at a little higher than 50% of the market.
Yeah, okay. Well, this is what we have to, as you say, we are in the, we are now in the
in these negotiations coming up now, these are going to the traditional negotiations, which is about across the board increases. Because one of the things that we did at the Confed is dealing with the performance, the compensation review, is that we said if we continued in the traditional way of negotiations, there's no way we would ever be able to get an increase in pay that would move public sector workers in any substantial way. And so that's why we had to take that route of doing the job evaluation and assigning value to the job based on the evaluation of the team. Once we do that, then we now move back to traditional negotiations, which is primarily about trying to recover what was lost to inflation from the last increase to now.
Yes. Sister Richards, Sister Richards, you are back with us? Hello?
Yes, sir, I am back with you.
Yes, yes. Well, we have exhausted our time now, so I'm giving you the final word.
Well, I don't know if there's much to say in terms of final words. Just thanking you for the opportunity to put the workers' concerns out there as we continue to try and serve our constituents to the best of our abilities.
Yes. All right. Well, as you know, this is a weekly program, so let us say to be continued, because the workers' issues are always is a continuous process, because labor and capital have to work together. So I want to thank both of you for taking time out to be with us this evening. And as we say, to be continued. Thank you very much, Mrs. Helene Davis-White and Mrs. Dawn Richards. Have a good evening.
Thank you very much.
And same to you.
Yes. Okay. Well, that was workers' time. Yes. And, you know, this is where we spend some time weekly to look at what is happening at the workplace. Okay, let's go for a break. This is Rebel Radio.
When me drink come please never gonna tease her. Boom bang. You don't know so rubber dub 8 tonic wine, the finest wine. So all of the man them wanna tune into the wine here, you know. You say if you don't want to go long and strong, you just tune into rubber dub.
tools, hardware and supplies is turning up the heat this summer with their super saving summer sale. Prices are slashed on everything you need to fix up your home. Beautiful tiles, sleek doors.